Hello dear subscribers. Many people dream of becoming a successful trader. But what's the smartest way to do it? Do I jump into the deep end and start full-time straight away, or is there a good alternative that offers me the security I need, and that may bring me to profitability in 3 years? In addition, I will give you some important information that will significantly increase your probability of winning. For this purpose I analyzed some 100,000 candles. The result is very interesting and will help you in the trade. In Germany there are 44.7 million gainfully employed persons, of which 40.7 million are salaried and over 4 million self-employed. Of the 40.7 million employees, over 3 million also have a part-time job, as the income from one job is no longer sufficient for many employees. 23% are very satisfied in their job, 55% are moderately satisfied and 22% are dissatisfied. Since the self-employed and part-time workers can usually choose their activities, this satisfaction relates to the remaining 37 million employees. The fact that 55% are only moderately satisfied shows that there are massive problems here too. There are many reasons for dissatisfaction. Too much work, too little time, too little money, and annoying colleagues are criticized by most. There is a lack of recognition in the job, self-realization is seldom given, there is little prospect for the future, and the question of meaning is judged poorly by most. The time dependency, work from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the local dependency are also criticized. Long driving times to work are not counted as working time. The job is performed according to regulations and wrong values are conveyed in the process. Many criticize the loneliness at work, such as parcel delivery staff or agents, and feel that they are underutilized. Not only is working with hazardous substances harmful to health, but also sitting in open-plan offices with poor ventilation. Overall, many do not have a work-life balance. Many trading coaches who advertise on YouTube take advantage of employee dissatisfaction. From her point of view, trading is associated with little work, more time, a lot of money, and great colleagues. There is recognition you can realize yourself has a future perspective, and the question of meaning has also been clarified. You can work when and where you want and determine your own values. Joint trading in a team, there is no under-challenge, lots of breaks, and the work-life balance is not neglected either. Some trading coaches even recommend jumping into the deep end. You should simply book a seminar with them, and then quit your job and immediately start full-time as a successful trader. I can only urgently warn you not to comply with this request. Because these trading coaches are primarily concerned with the money that they earn from you. In truth, as a trading beginner you have a lot of work. Little time and no money, because you only lose at the beginning. There are hardly any colleagues who act in the same setup as you. You will only receive recognition from the trading coach if you pay for it. Of course you can self-actualize, while your wife goes to work and earns money, you lose your money on the stock market. Of course, you do not have great future prospects in trading at the beginning, and you can clarify the question of meaning when you have become successful. You can work whenever you want, but in the beginning I worked 13 to 14 hours a day, and even on weekends. Of course, you no longer have to drive to work every morning and do the work according to the rules, but now you have to observe your own rules and values. You will continue to trade alone all day, you will be overwhelmed by the approach of the big players, and if you forget to take breaks, your health and your work-life balance will suffer. When you suddenly become self-employed as a former employee, there are many challenges. I know that exactly because I've been self-employed for over 32 years, and I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. If you do a mini job for 3 years, you have to work 1,500 hours and earn 16,000 euros. In trading, you will invest at least 3,000 hours in the first 3 years and possibly lose 12,000 euros or even more. Of course you have to invest as an entrepreneur, the question is always whether you can afford it. I don't know if your life partner will love it. The fact is you invest a lot of time in the beginning, have less time for the family, and are stressed when things don't go well. You lose money for the first 3 years and have little support in trading and possibly at home. But there is a solution to this, and that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you learn to ride a bike? It is best to start with a balance bike, where the sense of balance is best trained. And once you master the skill, you can start with a small bike. That's why I would recommend most of you to start trading on a part-time basis, and as soon as you have made steady profits, you can switch to a main job. Of course, it depends on your individual situation. If you are single and have no responsibility for a family, you are of course more free in your decision. Of course, full-time trading is the most efficient, but today I'm going to show you a way how you can achieve your goals faster in part-time trading. Since trading is all about probabilities, we have to deal with it first. Let's consider in risk-reward ratio 1. Our stop is 5 pips from the entry, and so is the TP. This would result in a profit probability of 50%, of course without spread and commission. These costs further reduce our probability of winning. A RRR of 2 reduces our chance of winning to 33%, and a RRR of 3 only gives us a 25% chance of winning. A RRR of 4 means we lose 80% of the time, and a RRR of 5 means we have a 17% chance of winning. The pure RRR consideration is of no use to us. The decisive factor is our personal profit ratio. Let's take a look at which RRR the most successful traders work with. Goldman Sachs has a hit rate of 90% with a RRR of just over 2, even though they are primarily day traders. The range in which a part-time trader acts is a decisive criterion. To do this, we look at the Eurist in the M5 and the time from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. where a part-time trader can trade. To get a RRR of 3, we use a stop of 5 pips and a TP of 15 pips. The graph for the short and long trades can be seen on the right. We are now placing this graphical representation next to the range. We find that this Monday it would not have been easy to make a good trade. On Tuesday you could have used a few opportunities in this constellation, on Wednesday it would have been a challenge, and on Thursday almost impossible to complete a profitable trade. With a lot of luck you could have done it on Friday. In this constellation, a part-time trader would only have been able to get a good trade through once or twice this week. The biggest challenge was on Thursday as the range was only 10 pips. We are now reducing our stop to 2 pips. With a RRR of 3, the TP is also reduced. This means that our trading range is significantly smaller and the probability of trading profitably on this Thursday is higher. Let us take a brief look at this course again in the M1. I myself worked with a stop of 2 pips and a TP of 3 pips. This is a gross RRR of 2 because my stop already includes the spread. Even in this weak volatility phase, you could have found 25 trading opportunities in these 3 hours. Of course, this only works with a special setup. You can find information about this in my numerous videos. Which trading is actually suitable for a part-time professional? Is it swing trading, day trading, or scalping? The first challenge is that the part-time trader can only start trading at 4 or 5 p.m. to trade for a maximum of 2 to 3 hours. For this reason, he can theoretically only work as a swing trader or as a scalper. The problem is that a lot of part-time workers work with day trading strategies. I have just shown you why this goes wrong. The decision in favor of scalping is often difficult, as there is the stock market adage, back and forth empties pockets. Of course, a scalper pays more fees than a swing trader, but effectively makes more money in the same amount of time. Also take a look at my video about scalping, there you will find very interesting information. As a swing trader you work with large stops, small stakes, a high pip target, and do few trades. As a scalper you work with small stops, use larger stakes to achieve a small pip target with significantly more trades at the same time. With a similar risk, I earn significantly more money within a shorter period of time, provided that the strategy is successful. Incidentally, I am of the opinion that the number of trades carried out contributes significantly to the experience of a trader. I also believe that a tennis player, who has trained 1,000 serves in 4 years has a clear disadvantage compared to his opponent who has trained a total of 50,000 serves in 4 years. Take a look at my paper airplane experiment again, we learn from it. The closer your goal is to the current price, the more accurate your prediction will be. This can be used to influence the probability in your favor. I work with currency pairs because I always need a reference value from the past with my strategy. Here you can see the 6 largest currency pairs, which already account for 2/3 of the total Forex turnover. Since the Eurist is the largest, you will also find the largest big players in the world there. Here you can see the average ATR in the M1 and the individual currency pairs, which leads to a safety factor. The smaller the value, the higher the security. Another important value is the seconds to the break-even point. In my constellation, I need an average of 20 seconds in euros to reach my break-even point. That is why the euro-US dollar is my favorite. A part-time trader has to act efficiently because he doesn't have that much time. Let us now consider which time unit is most efficient. The average ATR in the M1 is 1.5, the M5 candle reaches an ATR of 4 pips. If we calculate that down to the minute, this results in 0.8. We can see that the pip value per minute falls as the unit of time increases. Here you can see the number of zigzag lines that arise in the different time units, and how many pip a zigzag line reaches in the average. That means in the M1 a change of direction occurs on average every 20 minutes, and if I were to correctly act on all zigzag lines, the potential of 264 pips would result. It is not crucial to exhaust the total potential, rather it is crucial to have a potential first. And that is highest in the M1. So let's come back to the pip value per minute. At the start, I get into trading. The candle reaches 2 pip after 1 minute, so the pip value per minute is 2. The pip value for the next candle is 1.25, and the third candle is 1.16. Now the price is running down, the pip value is 0.25, and is reduced to 0.2 after the fifth candle. The price goes up more strongly at the end and reaches 4 pip after 6 minutes. The pip value per minute is 0.66. We reached the highest pip value per minute after just 1 minute, which would have been the optimal time for me to get out. Why? We see the average ATR of 1.5, and the results we get per minute during our trading. The risk value is calculated from this. The smaller it is, the less risk I have to take in trading. This means that if the pip value per minute is below the ATR, the greater my risk automatically becomes. Now many will think, well, after 1 minute he have reached 2 pips, but 4 pips after 6 minutes is twice as much. That's right, the number of pips is twice as high, but you also have to take 3 times as high a risk. And from the point of view of probability, that is not wise and certainly not efficient. Let's see how many candles are above the ATR. For this I analyzed 65,000 candles from M1 to H4. For us traders, it is precisely these candles that are important because they bring us to profit quickly. These are the little breakout candles. In the M1, the average ATR in the last 65,000 candles was only 1.4. 43% of the candles were above the ATR and 57% below the ATR. With 1,440-day candles, 619 are above and 821 candles are below the average. In the M5 only 40% of the candles are above the ATR, and in the M15 only 36% of the candles. After that, not much changes. That means in the M1 I have an advantage of 20% over the M15 to get a stronger movement candle. And now it's getting really exciting. In Eurist I analyzed the M1 candles in the ATR area for 4 weeks. From Monday to Thursday, as Friday ends at 10 p.m. The green fields show the candles that reach an ATR greater than 1.4. On the right side we see the respective time. And now we let the 4 weeks run through completely from midnight to midnight. We start in the Asian time and find that the volatility in this area is relatively low. The market in Frankfurt opens around 8 a.m. and London is added at 9 a.m. The volatility rises sharply. Around noon the volatility decreases a bit, and at 2:30 p.m. when New York hits the market, 90% of the candles are now above the ATR. As soon as London, Frankfurt and the USA leave the market, volatility will drop significantly. Let's get to the result. Between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. the average pip value per minute is over 1.4. From 7 p.m. to midnight, the average pip value per minute is still higher than in the Asian market. The optimal range in the Euro-US dollar is between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. because their 76% of all candles are above the ATR. From 8 p.m. to midnight, 30% of all candles are above the ATR, and from 0 to 8 a.m. only 10% of all candles. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., almost 90% of all candles are above the average ATR. For the part-time traders who trade between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., there are also good opportunities, as the average pip value per minute is 1.5. This makes it possible to trade profitably in this area as well. Today we first created your part-time ticket to success. This means that in the future you will be able to trade very successfully even in very difficult market phases, although you can only start at around 4 or 5 p.m. This means that we have first created the basis for successful part-time trading. Next up is the efficiency of your personal strategy. How do you manage to reach your break-even point as quickly as possible, and at the same time instead of 16,000 euros in loss only 160 euros? And how can you invest part of this remaining 15,840 euros in such a way that you reach your break-even point even faster? We will talk about this in great detail next week, otherwise this video would have lasted over 1 hour. The topic will be, efficiency in a part-time job, lose 100 times less. I wish you a very successful week, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again. Kind regards, Michael.